Here comes one of Disney's goofiest stars in his first full-length animated movie, a Goofy movie.
All right, we are eye to eye with another episode from the Critics Collective. It is me, the Dad Panther, Iris, and Manny here. We're going to talk about a Goofy movie. If we get 3 likes, we'll come back and we'll talk about the mockumentary that's on Atlanta. 3 likes, we'll go ahead and we'll talk about the actual documentary that's on Hulu Plus. Should be coming out really soon. And as we mark the 30th year, wow, blow the dust off my birth certificate, 30 years since the Goofy movie that came out in 1995. But before we get into it, talk about our first impressions, our highs and lows, and rate this, hit the subscribe button, follow. You could have been anywhere in the world. You chose to be here. And why not tell somebody else? The more, the merrier. Join our collective family. Now, with that being said, this movie had a budget of $18 million, right? $18 million. Opening weekend, it did $6 million, and it eventually trickled down and grossed in the US $35 million. They still to this day basically say this is a flop, and it's crazy. It's kind of like Emperor's New Groove. I will not tolerate the fucking slander that this movie gets. But Iris, before we go ahead and dive in this, I'm just curious, what was your first impression of this movie?
So first impressions of when it first came out back in 1995, I was actually pretty excited. I believe I went to the theater. I actually waited until it came out on VHS. So that's when I actually saw it. But I still have that VHS from 1995. It is in a box somewhere in my apartment.
Oh.
So I would have to say first impression of it, it's, it was a cartoon, cute movie. I wasn't expecting to get that much out of it as I did. So I kind of just took it as like, oh, a Disney cartoon, cool. Let's watch it,
Okay, Manny, what did you...
Really...
Oh, sorry. I goofed. I'm going to do that the whole episode.
Goof.
Yep.
So initially, I didn't give much thought to the movie. I didn't go to theaters to watch it. I actually saw it on tape because usually it was just the same rotation with my movies: Tarzan, Lion King, Pocahontas, and all the other Disney channels. But I always skipped this one. Then one day I just decided to watch it, and first impression, it was wow, very close to home type of film. Enjoyed it. A few highlights there that stuck with me as far as the film, but it was a surprise to me initially.
Okay. Now, for me, my first impression was I was hyped about this. My family took me to the movies all the time. I've got great stories about going to the movies. I did see this on VHS and I owned it at some point, and I'm pretty sure I didn't keep it. But for me, I don't know if you guys remember Goof Troop, which was on Disney. Ba-da-bop, ba-ba-dee-bop. Yeah. It's like, with a Goof Troop, we always stick together. That's how I also knew he was fucking black too. I'm just calling it what it is. The damn intro was too damn soulful.
It
to
was,
the Goof Troop, we always stick. And everybody was sitting there like, you trying to do your homework and whatever. And then again, they fucking did a bop, dop, dee bop. Yeah, that was fucking jazz at the end. I was like, come on now. So Goof Troop on Disney. It was a television show. It has over 70 episodes. I still watch that eating cereal. My daughter, my son, I have them watch it as well. Right there with Darkwing Ducks, Dark Tales, all that. Tailspin, all that crap. It's still nostalgic, and I give it to my kids. But it was like, that was my first impression. Like, this is going to continue the story from Goof Troop and the fun cast that they had. So I was completely fine with that, knowing that he's a single father raising his kid. And I did not understand that as a kid myself, but now I do, and I have a certain appreciation. Now, IMDB says for the Goofy movie, when Max makes a promise to the girl he has a crush on, his chances to fulfilling it seems hopeless when he's dragged into a cross-country trip with his embarrassing father, Goofy. For that, I believe that's a fair assessment of what this movie is. It's a coming of age of a kid who is a teen or a preteen. Whether you're a boy or girl, you kind of have that same feeling. You do not want to be embarrassed by your family or your parents or your loved ones. And so you can feel this. And then as a parent, whether a single parent or traditional, whatever your household looks like, you are with the idea of you don't want to lose your kid as they go through this growth, and they're kind of separating from you and doing your own thing. And so you're just trying to find that common ground. And I thought it was a good summary for IMDb. Now, Iris, what's your pros and cons of this 1995 classic?
Well, pros, it's goofy. Like, there's a pro right there.
Okay.
I'd have to say my biggest pro of this entire movie is the freaking music. Like, the music, it made no sense how hard the music went in this. Even when he was playing the stupid kid song, High Hopes, we've got high apple pie in the sky. Like, that stuck with me.
It did. It had my daughter will say, like, whenever we hear songs and the person singing and add a little, a little something like that, she's like, Daddy, it has seasoning. The music did have a lot of seasoning in it.
It did. And like I was telling you guys before, out of both power line songs that are, in the movie, Eye to Eye is my favorite one.
Stand Out is another one.
Yeah. Oh my God. But I would have to say, like, I feel like the storyline itself didn't get as much credit as it deserved. I think it was great. Like, it had a little bit of seriousness. It pulled at your heart on some parts. But then it also threw in, that comical slapstick, regular Goofy comedy that we're used to seeing in the classic Goofy, I feel like it was such a good blend of everything all together, and you could really connect. Like, I even feel like now as an adult, you can still connect as being a single parent to a child, trying to connect with your child. Because, you were a teenager once, but it's like now you're not cool anymore. So you're just trying to, like, relate to your kid. And it's like, cool. I was cool before you even knew what cool was. So
it's like, Dad, we don't say cool anymore. What?
Exactly. I'm like, excuse me. But yeah, so I feel like the movie itself has aged gracefully, because you can connect with it as a child as well as now as an adult. And the funny thing with me is that even younger me always thought Max was being an asshole to his dad. Like, I never, like, probably others in my age during that age group were like, oh no, his dad is always embarrassing him. He doesn't let him do his thing, blah, blah, blah. He's ruining everything for him. And I don't know, for some reason, I never saw it like that. I always saw, like, your dad loves you. Just let your daddy love you. Like,
no, I thought Goofy was mad fucking embarrassing. And with that being said, Manny, what was your highs and lows?
As far as high, this movie just surprised me in a whole. Like I said, when I first saw it, and like when I watched it tape, it was back then. I went to a library, used my library card just to rent it. Went home and watched it, and ever since then, I've been in love with the film. And it's just all the different characters I fell in love with, not just Goofy itself, like that one character,
Leaning Tower of Cheese.
Yeah, Bobby. That was
Pauly Shore.
Yeah, I love that character. Just the way he's just mellow out. He's high and some shit, but Disney not gonna tell you.
He was. We can stereotype. We know what it was. They had demographics from everybody. They had the jocks in there. You had Pete next door. PJ was chill. Everybody had a friend like PJ. So I agree. As far as the characters, what else you got, Manny?
So again, like Iris said, the music. That final scene when Max gets his moment with his dad and Powerline, that was just a highlight of the movie. But one of my favorite highlights is just this short second, like few seconds in the movie where Bigfoot gets the headphone and the Bee Gees start playing. You start doing the thing with the finger. That's like my favorite part of the movie, and that when you see Goofy and Max just cooking the little can, and you see him in the background just dancing, going in the background. That was like, as a kid, I loved that scene. For some reason, I used to wait for that just to have a laugh. So that was pretty much some of my highlights of the movie. But pretty much enjoyed the movie. Every character of the film stood out for me, and I didn't have any low as far as how to any dislike for the film at all. It had that story beginning to end. This kid who wants to be somebody, wants to be recognized by this girl that he likes, but his dad also wants him to recognize him. That, he loves him, and it all plays out to the end. So I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and to continue, I mean, the cons that I have always start at the bottom. The cons for this one has really nothing to do with the movie. I just wish we had another one. Now, don't get me wrong, there's an extremely goofy movie that came out later on. Another one that really, to them, wasn't really successful. But that's really it. They just created this world that I wanted to continue and consume and be a part of. Now, the stuff I really enjoyed about it, I mean, it would go with what you guys said. The music was great. I thought the characters are great. Everybody kind of had their own flow. Even if it was someone like the principal, you heard the voice, you knew exactly who the principal was. So I thought they did a really good job of adding these people in here for the mix. But the biggest thing for me was just the understanding of culturally, it felt like I was seen. Culturally, it felt like when he does the perfect cast, it just seems like something like you just relax and you do the clothing look like the clothing for the people that live, where I went to school at. And then the other people look like the other people. It just felt like you could really be anybody and watch this and feel like you were going through. And maybe, and I'm sure I did not understand the parenting aspect of it, but the teen part, I got that. I'm sitting there doing homework. I'm trying to figure it out. And like, my mom and dad don't understand me, or man, there's this girl that I really like, or I got a friend just like PJ, or I got, whatever it was. I just thought they did a really good job of making it where you're watching a cartoon and you're connecting to it on a level that you probably did not connect with really any other Disney movie. Like, don't get me wrong, we've done reviews on The Lion King and other stuff. Those are classics. And those had moments, don't get me wrong, human emotions came out of a lot of those scenes, but you just didn't feel connected to Simba the way you felt connected to Roxanne, or the way you felt connected to Max, or one of Roxanne's friends, or any like that. So I just thought, like, even with Stacy, you knew a Stacy with braces. You knew somebody who was like that, who had that energy, who was like talk, and almost kind of reminded you of Blossom in a way, even though I think that was a character from Blossom. Her friend in the show was the voice for that character. But for me, I would agree. All the stuff that you guys said really made this movie something. Now, we're going to go ahead and rate this thing. We like to tend over here, rate it on a scale where it's 0 to 5. Now, we also should have at this point 3 likes. And if we do, we'll come back and we'll talk about the Atlanta episode that talks about Goofy in its own special way, and the documentary that's soon to be on Disney Plus. Now, our rating once again goes 0 to 5. 0 being a Tyler Perry movie. Luckily, Tyler Perry and Disney aren't doing anything anytime soon. Maybe they will. They will. Now that I say it, maybe I'm gonna watch something on Disney Plus, and it's gonna be like, this summer, Disney Studios Animated brings you Tyler Perry's Medea Can't Draw. I don't know what it would be.
Medea Can't Draw.
Somebody get this damn mouse. Somebody better get this damn mouse. I don't know what it is, but
they're gonna put a wig on those cartoon guys.
Listen, and I'm not gonna lie, I would watch it. I watch it as much as I kind of mess with Tyler in some of the movies he says. I'm here for it. I don't think there's a Tyler Perry movie I'm not gonna sit there and tune into. So, it is what it is. Now, with that being said, Manny, what are you going to rate this? But before you say anything, hit the subscribe button, like, follow, all that other stuff. Do that. I hate doing it the last minute, but the analytics say this is where I should do it. This is where we would insert the graphic and you would press the button to like. And if you've already been subscribed, turn notifications on, go tell somebody, and tell me your favorite song on the soundtrack for the Goofy movie. Manny, what are you rating this?
I'm giving it a 5.
I was about to say. I was about to.
No question. You know, like you said earlier, the movie just connects with you in ways, you know, that most of us, you know, growing up as a kid, certain things in the film just connects with us. You know, even with Lester and having this dad that has all this cool stuff, and your parents, you know, don't have this stuff. You remember that scene where they go camping? You know, I've had moments like that as a kid. So a lot of stuff in this movie connected with me growing up. So I definitely give it a 5.
Mm-hmm. All right, Iris, what you thinking? I mean, I don't want to assume with your background and your stuffed animal and your T-shirt. I'm just saying, and you've known to goof around from time to time.
No bias.
Pause. But I would definitely be giving this a 5. Like, hands down. We already know it's a classic. It's so good. The storyline, music, how the audience can relate to it, young, old, doesn't matter, and how relevant it still stays. So yeah, definitely a 5.
Okay, I like it. So a 5 from both of you. I'm not gonna hesitate. It's a 5. My feeling on this movie, it simply goes with the idea of, let's say you were African American and you're like, hey, I feel seen, and let's say you're one of the other cast, you're like, hey, I feel seen, because they did such a good job of showing it. Or let's say you were anywhere in the world. It's not a black or white thing. It could be anything on the world, and you're watching this, whether on the theater, the HD television, because now you can stream it, or back in the day on the regular television that had 3 colors. And if you're too old or too young and you don't know what 3 colors I'm talking about, this ain't for you. But if you lifted that screen, you all at some point, and I think that's what millennials are saying now, you all understood that you were all going through the same thing. You were all trying to figure out high school or middle school. You were all trying to figure out, trying to have an understanding with your parents. And then on the other side, we became parents and had kids. And then you can still see that similarity. And that's one of the biggest things that I take from this is it's not necessarily a tax bracket you're in. It's not the color of your skin of it. It's a traditional story that's there that everybody can feel that they see and they can relate to. And it was a very relatable movie in a format that, you know, might not have flown on the radar, I guess. So with that being said, that's it. You could have been anywhere in the world. Oh gosh, you could have been anywhere in the world. And you chose to be here. We greatly appreciate that. Until next time, click a loud.